Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jolene Ibanez, and I am your worship associate today. I'm joined by Reverend Sean Wilcher, our minister. Beth Syverson, our director of music ministries, is off today, but we have a group of guest musicians led by Susan Shaw and wrangled by Steve Morihiro. Of course, we all are. And Karen McGoon Pearson, who is our director of religious education for children and youth, in welcoming you this morning. We would like to recognize also the many volunteers that have helped put this service together today. We respectfully recognize that our church property lies on Ahachiman and Tongva land. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together, not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is a promise that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and our relationships. We are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. To our roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones. And to our Zoomers, say hello in the chat. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. Later in the service, we will have an opportunity for you to introduce yourselves if you'd like to do so. We begin our service with the lighting of our chalice. This morning, I'd like to invite Dale Osborne, who's done many things with and around this church, to come up here and light our chalice. As he lights the chalice, let's say our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together. That's tricky, huh?
Body your spirit and join us in our opening song. Come sing a song with me. One of the verses will be different. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in a winter time.
Come play a game with me. Come play a game with me. Come play a game with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for all of you who braved getting past the OC Marathon. Some of people I know at home are like, I just don't know how to get here around that. I had to go via freeways this way. But yeah, sometimes it feels like a puzzle, a game that we are to try to get here, particularly on OC Marathon Sunday. So let us begin with these words. We are all playing it up, playing it down, trying to play fair, playing for keeps, playing favorites, playing it safe, sometimes too safe. He plays hardball, they're playing house, I'm playing it by ear, or at least learning to play it by ear. She's tired of playing second fiddle. He's playing right into their hands. Please, God, can't we all just throw out the playbook and start again? Sometimes we're played out. It's not always bad to play possum. What about playing with fire? Oh, let's hope so, friends. Don't you want to feel that burning within and let it loose? Well, in this time this morning, let us play.
Yesterday, a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older, must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. Sing along with me, won't you? And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet too slow, the circle's down. Join me. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. lost, some grandeur coming true. There'll be new dreams, there'll be better dreams and plenty before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game.
I'd like now to invite Karen Magoon Pearson up here. She's our Director of Religious Education. And we're going to play a game this morning. Simon Says.
Good morning. Well, I'm sure most of us are probably familiar with this game, but just in case, I was wondering, Derek, can you be our example for a second to show people how to play Simon Says? All right. Okay, so when Simon says to do it, you do it. If Simon doesn't say, you don't do it, right? All right, so this one's just for Derek. So Derek, Simon says, put your hand up in the air. Good one. Put it down. Oh, you see, he caught himself. You got to be smart. Thank you, Derek. All right, so we're going to be watching you. And Zoomers, you are on the honor system, so. All right, so here we go. So Simon says, wiggle your right foot. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Simon says, do jazz hand with your right hand. Simon says, nod your head. At least you get to sit down. All right, put your foot down. Oh, did you do it? You did. All right, Simon says, put your foot down. Simon says, stop nodding, put your hand down. Simon says, put your hands on your hips. Simon says, move side to side. Stop. Oh, Simon didn't say. You guys are getting good, I see. Practice makes perfect. Simon says, put your hands down. Simon says, shrug your shoulders 2 times. Simon says, do a little groovy dance. Stop dancing. Oh, hardly anyone stopped. You guys are getting really good. All right, Simon says you can stop. All right, thank you very much for playing with me this morning. And now I'm going to light our children's chalice, and the children and their religious education teachers are going to head to our classrooms.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go.
May your heart be at peace as you go, to nurture the spark of your
right, so I haven't played Simon Says since I don't know how long. All right, so I want to start off the service this morning with a warning, a little bit of a disclaimer that after this service, you will never see the world the same way again. Dun dun dun. Okay. And I get to geek out on you today. Okay, many of you know that I am a gamer. I've mentioned this before. So I like playing computer games, and it used to be video games, but now it's computer games. I actually like playing all types of games, but a gamer, the type when we say who a gamer is, they usually play one of three different types of games online. One is called an MMORPG, often just referred to as an MMO because that's a handful. It's called a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. So like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, all of those are MMORPGs. Then there's something called FPS, which is a first-person shooter. So things like Halo, Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, that kind of thing. And then RTS is a real-time strategy, Age of Empires, StarCraft, if you've ever heard any of those games. And now you can sound really cool to your grandchildren, nieces, and nephews, okay? This is some of what's known as leet speak, okay? Which is gamer speak. All right, by the way, I just want to point out, because I heard this is really cool, one of the first-person shooters is called Counter-Strike. And they have a server out in Sweden, and they know that a bunch of Russians use that server, and they found a way to actually get them information about what's really going on in the Ukraine war by the Russians who are playing the game. How cool is that? They're getting around the Russian, propaganda and everything, and censorship. So, okay, let's see, I used to play a little bit of the RTS. I don't play FPS because it makes you dizzy and it's also very violent. It's kind of like World War II stuff they have, and you're shooting guns and stuff like that, which I don't like. But I like the MMORPGs. Those are what I usually play because it's often very cartoony. The violence is you're against monsters. It's sort of good versus evil type of thing. So I'm okay with that. So now, and the thing about MMOs, and I'm going to call them that because it's too much of a handful to say the whole thing. MMOs are kind of all the same. So you buy the game and then you pay a subscription, a monthly subscription. It's about anywhere from $12 to $15 a month. There's a story that you're following along, and your character usually plays a big part in that story. And you play a certain class. So a specialty like you're a warrior, or you're a wizard, or a healer, or in the case of like, here's a bunch of them. I've played all of these. If you're, Star Wars, you can be a Jedi if you want, or you could be a stormtrooper, or all sorts of other things. So this is me geeking out on you. Don't worry, it gets better. Okay. So as you play this, there's a point to all of this, truly. As you play through the story, you level up, right? So you start at level 1, and then you keep going up levels. You start out with very little. So like this might be your character when you first start out. They look really basic. They've just got a little sword and board. So this is a warrior in World of Warcraft. But the more you level up, the more you get more and more powerful. You get better gear, weapons, all that sort of thing. And you go out and you kill a bunch of things. You get quests, and you get experience for doing those quests, right? So each level, however, takes longer and longer to compete. So you might actually get through the first 5 levels in an hour, but by the time you get to level 50 or 60, and most of them cap at around 70 or 80, it's taking you 50 hours to get through one level. So it takes a long time, exponentially. So, and then basically, so you might think, okay, so you get all the way to the top. So say the top level is 70, and you think, okay, I won the game, right? I'm done. Nope. And in fact, what they call this is then you get what's called end game content, okay? And instead of leveling your character, right, through experience and quests and that sort of thing, basically what you do is you're leveling your gear, so your weapons and everything. But this is where it kind of gets kind of fun at any rate. So your weapons and gear might look more like this, okay, when you get done. So everybody likes to look really cool, right, in the game. And so you want to get like the best gear out there. So However, unlike leveling, which you can do alone, or you can do it with your friends if you like, endgame content usually requires cooperation. So for example, you go into dungeons, there's about 4 or 5 people at a time will go into a dungeon, beat the bad guys in the dungeon, save the people, all that sort of thing, right? Or you can join a raid. So this is what a raid might look like. All of those different little names there are different people in the raid, like me playing a character. Matter of fact, I'm in there, but I'm not going to tell you which one I am. So you can join a raid, which is about 10 plus people, all joining together to take down a bunch of big bads. They're called bosses, okay? I wonder where that came from. But you have to coordinate a lot while you're raiding, and it's truly a lot of fun, okay? And when you win the raid, you get better gear, and you can progress through the raid to the next boss. Needless to say, you die a lot when you're doing a raid. I can't tell you how many times I have, but it's fun to die. All right. I know there's a spiritual message in there somewhere, but that's not where we're going to today. But that's not all. Once you win the entire raid, so you get through all of the bosses, you can play against an even harder version of the raid, okay? Usually there are 3 to 4 levels to a raid, and dungeons can go up to even 30. They go up really high. So you can just get better and better gear as you go through. And by the time you get close to completing all of that, the game maker comes out with a new expansion. And they move the leveling cap up, so if it was 50, they go now to 60, so now you gotta get all your character, or if you have multiple characters, all from 50 to 60. And then they get new raids and new dungeons, and you start all over again, and it's rinse and repeat, right? This is how they keep you going with your subscription, right? It's how they make money, which, if you're having fun, okay, I'm fine with 15 bucks a month, that's cool. Okay, now I want you to be honest here, okay? All of you be honest, you online too. Raise your hand. How many of you think that this sounds like boring as all get out, a complete waste of time, or you just don't get it? Raise your hands. Yeah. Most people are like, what? Hey, wait, I didn't say Simon Says. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Thank you. All right. Now, does anybody think this is kind of fascinating and fun? There's a few people in here. Maybe some gamers, am I thinking? Yeah, okay, cool. Excellent. Yes, we need more gamers here. Okay. Here's the funny thing that you may not be aware of, okay? For those of you who think, oh my God, are you kidding me? What is that all about? You're actually doing the exact same thing. You're playing a game for very similar reasons that are very similar to a gamer, and you just don't know it. It's called social media. Okay, let me explain. In order to explain, I need to explain to you what a game actually is. But before we go there, I'd like you to, let's really do a little contemplation here. I want you to think back to a moment when you were a child, when you were young, and what was the favorite game that you played, okay? What was the favorite game that you played when you were a child? So I want you to think about this. Was it a board game, street game, like tag or kick the can or hide and go seek? Was it a game in school? Was it sports or dodgeball? Was it playing cards like Go Fish or War, or your brother teaching you 52 pickup? Yeah. Maybe it was Simon Says. So think about that for a minute. What was your favorite game? Then I want to ask you why. Why was it your favorite game? I'm already getting people putting it in there. All right, I invite you to turn to someone and tell them your favorite game, and if you know why. Why was it your favorite game? I invite you to do that. I'll call you back here. All right. So I just want you to note that we have a number of gamers online who are giving me the thumbs up around WoW. Some I didn't know played WoW. Some I did know. But all right. So Matthew P. says his favorite games growing up were Rummikub and Uno because they're great family games. I love both of those. I recently got introduced to Rummikub, and that is fun. All right, Sarah H. says Swift Rummy. It was a game that her family made up. Sometimes those are the best ones, right? The ones your family made up. Hannah A. says, I loved Clue because it was exciting and mysterious. Alex P. says, my favorite game to build was Mousetrap, but the one we played together was Sorry or Monopoly. I played a lot of Monopoly. Let's see, Francie C. said playing War card game. Remember War? You slap it over, right? She says it was her favorite because she played it with her dad. It was fast and fun, right? Paula says canasta. We would play all summer. Very cool. Peggy P says block kick the can on long summer evenings. All ages played. Yeah, that was fun. I've played that one too. Linda C says, I hate to admit it as it's not politically correct, but cowboys and Indians. Yeah, we don't play that anymore, do we? Yeah. We might have Ukrainians and Russians, I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, too soon, okay. All right, Donna M says ragtag with kids climbing in a big tree and someone below throwing a ball of rag strips tied together to hit them. Then they were it and they had to come down from the tree. I've never heard of this. That's an interesting one. Valerie says, I like the original Metroid. I had no instructions, no map, and had to explore spaces, places, and features to figure out all by myself. And Pia says, Bananagrams is my favorite. I love Bananagrams too, which is a very fast Scrabble game with yelling. Let's see here. And then Dave says, I like Clue because it used logic and recording answers I could win every time. Yeah, we like winning, don't we? We definitely like winning. All right. Thank you all for sharing that. It's kind of fun to go back and think about these things. Let's sing a song with Phil now.
You gotta know when to hold it, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the day is done. You gotta know when to hold it. Know when to fold him, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the deal is done, there'll be time enough for counting. When the deal is done.
Right on. All right. So think about that game that you chose, the game that you grew up that you like doing, okay? Here's how some sociologists and anthropologists describe what a game is, okay? It's a temporary activity for diversion or amusement that has a simple goal and simple rules that everyone follows, okay? Note that word temporary up there. The game we played that we grew up with, really, they were all really temporary, right? They had rules and there was always a winner, a clear winner, that told you that the game was at the end. And you could play another game, but the game was at the end, right? So think back to that game that you choose. What if you had had to play that all day long? And all night, and it was never ending? Would it be as much fun? Think if you had to do Simon Says for more than an hour. Okay, so here's the thing. People, for the most part, like playing games, right? All types of games. It's a nice escape from life, right? Because life is often very complex. We have these competing goals, right? Family versus career, your friends. Do I go see my friends or do I do my hobby? Do I eat healthily or do I eat that really yummy cake over there, right? But the The problem is that also, people also seem to be playing by different rules all the time in the world. Everything from, the way that we communicate, like, how you doing? Fine. Okay, you said you're fine, but you're not really fine, right? There's all sorts of things like we get judged by our race, our sex, our spouse, our education, our money, our car, all these sorts of things. We value different things, and that tells us some of our rules is what we value and how we treat people. So playing a game is kind of a relief and a release. There's usually one goal, and everyone agrees on the rules, right? You don't want cheaters. And that's part of what makes it fun. It's simple, and it's a diversion. It's amusing, and it's fun to spend time with people that you care about. So what happens if the game never ends, when it becomes not a temporary diversion, but an ongoing fixture in your life? And this is what big game makers are trying to create, a game that never ends, right? That's how you keep paying the subscription fee, right? This is why some gamers are called gamer addiction is a real thing, right? And to the extent that sometimes their family and their work life will suffer. I literally read this morning on Reddit that one guy got thrown out of his apartment because it smelled so bad because all he did was game all day long, right? Yes, I was on Reddit this morning scrolling. Yeah, they don't know how to make it a temporary amusement, right? And other companies began learning this model. Make the rules simple, make the goals simple, but make sure there's no final way to win, right? Unlike a real game. And then you can get people to constantly come to your site. They will not only keep coming back, but they will also stay for a very long time looking at your advertisements and keep paying the subscription, right? If there's a subscription to it. Now this model is called gamification, okay? And more businesses are learning about it and using its strategies to suck you in to what they want you to do, okay? Now, whoops, oh dear. Oh, looks like we didn't refresh the slideshow at some point. But gamification injects gameplay and rewards into everyday activities to build customer loyalty and increase engagement. I'll say that again. Gamification injects gameplay and rewards into everyday activities to build customer loyalty and increase engagement. And the problem with gamification is that they don't want it to be temporary, right? They want you to stay. They want you to constantly play. And gamification is not necessarily all bad, but it's important to know when actually you're being played, right? So let me give you an example. Netflix and streaming services. It used to be that you had to wait 1 week till you could get the latest update on your favorite episode, right? But now you can binge watch shows until the wee hours of the morning. And how many of us have done this? Just one more episode. One more episode, just one more, right? And in the last 5 to 6 years, been this absolute boom in the online streaming industry. Everybody's doing it. And it used to be that we had maybe 250 shows and movies that were made a year out of Hollywood, okay? And now it's 500, it's double that. And this is why, in part, if you didn't know, this is in part why the writers are going on strike in Hollywood, right? Because currently a show's season, which you can binge watch in one night if you really want to, lasts about 6 to 8 weeks, and it used to last 9 months. So they're constantly looking for jobs, and they don't get residuals off of these, or very, very little residuals. So this is one of the things that they're trying to do, is trying to gamify, constantly give you content so you will keep coming back to them, right? And the other examples are things like Fitbit, right? You wear your Fitbit, you get little achievements. Oh, you got 10,000, now you get 12,000. Oh, I want to go for 15,000. So you start doing it more and more and more and more, right? Places like Duolingo, they do this as well, right? You know, I love getting those when I was learning Italian. And I would like get those things like, you haven't been here, come on, don't stop your streak, right? The streaks they get you. Wordle, okay, come on. Who here plays Wordle because you don't want to stop the streak and you want your stats to look really good? Okay, yeah, right? Thank you. But the biggest form of gamification is on social media, okay? What is the goal of social media? Now, for you, it might be the ability to stay in touch with friends and family, to be entertained, and to get a breaking news, maybe. Like if you're on Twitter a lot, that's why a lot of people are on Twitter, is because they want to get the breaking news. A lot of journalists are, and opinions of people that you admire, right? But that's not their goal. Their goal is not to necessarily give you a way to connect with people or to do any of those things, sharing information. Their goal is to get you to come to their site, and the rules they give you are likes and get friends and retweets and posts, and in return you get to see lots of entertaining and sometimes really uninteresting posts, but often interesting little tidbits and posts. And when you do that, you get a little dopamine hit. And you just, one more, right? You just keep going, one more, one more. And you will see advertisements, right, as you're going on and you try to skip those, right? But you get seeing them all the time. You start knowing which ones are going to be coming up. You get to others to join you. You like something, and you love getting those likes. It tells you you're winning. You get a like. You got a little like on your post that you did. And suddenly an hour has passed, or maybe two. And they make you feel like you're winning every time you get a like or a mention or a repost, and all of the metrics that you have on your site are how many that you have, right? If you go look at them, here's where your likes are, all that sort of thing. Here's how many friends you have. But notice that these metrics do not measure how close you are to your family. If you really liked that picture on Instagram, but you just really like your friend and you want to support them, or your minister who occasionally posts, art on Instagram as well, it doesn't tell you whether or not you really actually think it's good. It doesn't tell you anything that you like. It might have completely changed your life, or it might be just like, I'll just hit a like, because it looks like they didn't get many likes, so I'll put a like on there, right? It doesn't tell you actually anything that you truly value. It just makes you feel good to get another friend or another like or another heart or whatever it is, or subscriber or whatever, particularly if you're on YouTube. So we talk about social media addiction for a reason. This has become another thing, right? These big gaming companies like WoW or Counter-Strike, social media, and Netflix did not get their ideas of keeping us focused on their game from the games that we played as a kid, those card games, board games, that sort of thing. Do you know where they got them? Dun, dun, dun.
Sure.
Yep. These games, casinos, and gambling. Gambling is a game that technically never ends. You might win one thing, but then you want to get more, right? At what point are you winning enough? There's no end to it, right? It's one that while it has temporary winners and losers, there's no end to the game. If you never noticed, if you've ever been in a casino, it's why they have no windows or clocks anywhere. And it's why most iPhone games also hide the clock. Look at your games on your iPhone, and you may see it. Not all of them do, but a lot of them do. They want you to keep playing. And it's why social media gets you with scrolling, just one more thing to look at. Even if it's an advertisement, one more like and one more post. Okay. And in fact, there are entire books written on how to addict people to your sites using gamification. My favorite is the one Hooked over there. And it actually says it. The fascinating thing to me is that no one is talking, or very few people are talking about the ethics of this. And the author of Hooked, Nir Eyal, he wrote this. He said, "A funny thing happens when you lie to people. They tend to believe. Why shouldn't they? They lie to themselves all the time. Our minds are wired to respond in predictable ways. Among them is perceiving the world the way we want to see it, not necessarily the way it is." And this is what gaming companies or social media companies and a lot of companies are trying to do, is not get you there, in a sense, lying to you. So there's this other problem that's out there. The social psychologists are starting to notice how social media and other companies are changing what we value, and it's really subtle. Or rather, they're making us focus on their goals and their values, not our goal and our values. So in a sense, they're kind of lying to us. They say that their platform is about, it's connection and sharing information, making friends. And really for them, it's something called CLTV, or customer lifetime value. CLTV is how long you stay before you switch to a competitor. And they're all using this psychology to addict you so you don't leave. So there's a quote by this woman, I think her name is Nancy Schell, and she says, Facebook, Twitter, and other companies use methods similar to the gambling industry to keep users on their sites. Like slot machines, they are designed to lock users into a cycle of addiction. In the online economy, revenue is a function of continuous consumer attention, which is measured in clicks and time spent. Just saying. So this actually hit me one day when I was playing an MMO. I was playing World of Warcraft, and I recently got a friend involved in it, and he's this really great guy, Tyler. He runs the raids now and everything, but he raved about he was like, oh, this game is so amazing, like it has all of these beautiful views and vistas that you can see and these adventures you can go on, and I'm like, what? So here's like examples of what you can see in game. Okay, these are just pictures of some of the things that you can see in game. And they really are amazing. There's an incredible art that goes into these games. But I had gotten so caught up in the leveling and getting better gear and better weapons and being the best that I could, that I stopped appreciating the art and the story of the game. And it turned out I wasn't actually having that much fun, because I got actually into it to have fun and to be with my friends and family. I have a bunch of family who are gamers as well. Instead, it had become this grind, what they call the grind. And I wanted to get to the top level of the game as fast as possible. Everybody does. Everybody speeds through the dungeons and speeds through the leveling as fast as they can so they get to that end game content. And it's really kind of annoying. You can't really appreciate what's going on around you because you're just going so fast. And I realized that my values had changed. The reasons for my wanting to play that game had become about what they wanted my reasons to be. And Blizzard, the company who makes World of Warcraft, wanted me to keep subscribing, so they keep those metrics of the levels, right? They make all these fake achievements for you to jump through along the way, and each time, they literally call them achievements, and you're like, really, can I put this on my resume? I don't know. And each time you get one of these achievements, whether it's a level or there's other types of achievements, you get this little dopamine hit, right? And you want more, so you keep going. Only now it takes more and more dopamines to hit to keep you going. And so you just try to race through everything in the content. And you've lost sight of why you decided to play in the first place. And this can also happen with these gamification sites. It becomes less about the reason why you started it, but about getting the perk or achievement that they offer. All right, you guys with me? I want to say this. Games are not bad. Nor is really gamification doesn't have to be bad at all. If you're having fun, great. If they motivate you like Fitbit, awesome, that's great, right? But remember what your goals and values are. Is the game you're playing or the social media that you're doing or the company that you're working with, are they helping you reach them, or are they giving you their goals and values? In other words, are you playing or are they playing you? Now, you know I'm a gamer. I love games, online board games, all types of games. And I don't mind having a game to something to be gamified, but I also need to be careful that these games aren't changing who I am, that I'm noticing how they make me feel, not just how I'm doing something. Games can be this wonderful escape from a complex world, but it would be temporary, but it should be temporary and in my control, because we're Unitarian Universalists, right? We respect the dignity and worth of all people, and one of the things that I get from these games, any type of gamification, is that they are not respecting yourself as an individual. They are not respecting your dignity and worth. They're out for the money, right? That's capitalism. We don't like being used. We also value a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, right? The choice to choose our own values, not have them forced on us so very subtly. Just remember, games are meant to be temporary. So remember, you've got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run, okay? And I want to invite you this week to look at games that you're invited to play, because you're going to start seeing them everywhere. All right, above all, have some fun this week. Let us sing.
From
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all of the money for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies the spirit of generosity by sharing half the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month we are joining with Stand Up for Kids. Now, most of these kids aren't getting the opportunity to play games all day. And in fact, here's something I wanted to read to you all. It's a little harsh, but I feel truth is important. There are 4.2 million homeless youth in America. That's a dangerous place to be. Within the first 48 hours, 22% are approached by someone soliciting drugs, and 1 in 3 are lured into prostitution, often trading sex for food or a place to sleep. I didn't know that stat. And this is what these people want to help put it into in Orange County. So thank you for your generosity as always. There are multiple ways in which you can support the church and this organization. You can mail a check. You can go through our website. You can use an app called Vanco Mobile, or you could put cash in the offering baskets, which are right outside the doors. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
So come out. You have been waiting long enough. You're done with all the talk, with nothing on the table. It's time to come on out. There will be no sign from above. You'll only hear the knock, knock, knock of your own heart, a signal. If you are afraid, come out. If you are awake, come out and level up. Begin again, dynamite the dam on the floor. Your body feels the talk, time as it hammers. Lord, we are all sinners from a fire burning long ago. But here it is, the knock, knock, knock of your own heart that matters. If you are afraid, come forth. If you are alone, come forth now. Everybody here has loved and lost. So love and love again. Call it any name you need. Call it your 2.0, your rebirth, whatever. So long as you can feel it all. So long as all your doors are flung wide. Call it your day number 1 and the rest of forever. If you're afraid, give more. If you're alive, give more now. Everybody here has seams and scars. So what let your faith die. Bring your wonder. Yes, you are only one. No, it is not enough. But if you lift your eyes, I am your brother. And this is all we
In singing, we gather together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses our gratitude for the many gifts we share. Together we gather as one.
For peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we can. We can change lives with what we share.
Thank you all for journeying with us today. Now it's a time when we honor important events and people in our lives, and you are invited, one and all, member, friend, visitor, everyone, to join in this weekly ritual that we call Joys and Sorrows. I'd like to invite Lori Kluge up here. She is one of our pastoral care team members, and she'll be assisting in lighting candles. So maybe you've held on to something that has struck you at your core, something, a joy or a sorrow that you would like to honor. You're welcome to come forward and light a candle, and people online, you can light one at home as well. If you'd like to share it with the congregation, you can write it on a slip of paper that the ushers have and can hand out to you if you didn't already get one as you came in. Zoomers, you can write it in the chat and I'll read them out loud. You can also just say, simply light a candle for me. We're also happy to do that. So once the roomers are done lighting the candles, I'll read those joys and sorrows out loud, and Lori will then light a candle for our Zoomers. So as music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. Please come forward. Thanks, Gabrielle. All right, I'm going to read those out loud that were given in the chat first. Let's see here. Ralph H. says, I don't know if he meant this to be a joy, but I think so he did. He says, hooray, Don M. is post-pneumonia, can leave his house again. Yes. And Francie C. says, glad to be back home after whirlwind and joyful time in Michigan and all of us surviving family time together. We've all been there, yes. Let's see, Donna M., she says, I'm feeling joyful today because tomorrow my 3 cousins from Pennsylvania are arriving for a week's vacation. Nice. Hannah A. Says, a candle of gratitude for all of the opportunities I've been given recently to deepen my spiritual practice and continue growing as I seek my purpose. Amen, Hannah. And Matthew P. has a candle of sorrow. He says, feeling very much like the game of life is a losing battle. He says, I have wonderful friends and a loving husband, but I miss my family, even though they are not non-supportive of us. Sorry about that, Matthew. All right. And we had two that were sent to me. One was from Kathleen McFarland. She says, these beautiful flowers that were done by Sandy, were provided in honor of the birthday of Kathleen's mother today. Kathleen says, although I can't imagine her being comfortable with my self-declaration as an atheist, I do hope she will be pleased that I am a church member. She says, happy birthday, Mom. And Peggy P. says, thank you to everyone who signed the cards sent to her husband, Richard. He's greatly enjoyed it. He is walking a little with a cane, and his hand is still splinted, but he is doing a bit more each day. Good news. All right. And people here, let's see, Linda S. says she lit a candle of joy for all of the new families, new visitors, and new members and friends here in today's service. Awesome. Yes, it is awesome always to have. And Tracy D., she lit a candle of joy. She says, leaving Thursday to her son's graduation, then her daughter's graduation, then a week of all of us together, first time in 5 years, and there will be games. And Maureen M., she lit a candle of joy for her daughter Corliss, who got a new job and will be moving from San Francisco to the LA area in June. Yay! Nice. And Sandy M., about her husband, Don. Don is getting stronger every day. We want to thank you for your healing thoughts, loving cards, and meals, and are grateful to be a part of this community. Awesome. We do that really well. We're cool. And Gabrielle B. gives a little bit of sad news, a candle of hope. She says her husband, Alan, is at home after having surgery on his foot on Friday. He says, we're hoping for really good results in maintaining his mobility. Amen. We really hope that happens, Gabrielle. All right, let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations, all those hurts and sadness, both spoken or whether or not they remain silent. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect with one another. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. Please join Lori in a spirit of prayer.
There is a time to let go the resistance, the steadfast march to complete the to-do list. There is a time to rest and to trust the world will go on, filled with partners at the ready, all of us splitting shifts on this project of building and healing, tending and turning. Breath and being require their own practice, their own attention. And the heart needs time for becoming stronger, the learning to love more and again. Take in the stillness of this moment and notice your belovedness, rising from the center of your being, connecting every little piece of everything and everyone. Amen.
Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. That video made me want to go take a dance class. It was so fun. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're a congregation made up of people who all believe differently. And yet when we gather together, whether we are in the room or on Zoom, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you're a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't been yet known to us, well, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. We encourage you to either write in the chat if you're a Zoomer, or if you're a roomer, stand for a brief moment and tell us your name and where you're from Susan will bring you a microphone so the Zoomers can hear you too. Anyone like to stand? Okay. If you'd like to know more about our church, including programming for our youth and children, please contact us at hello@ocuc.org, and we will help you get connected. In addition, we invite you to sign up for our weekly email. Call the blast at ocuc.org. We want everyone to be part of this, feel part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected.
All right, and then there's all these other wonderful things that are going on out there. And let's see here. We've got a bunch of things. The main thing is that we got our big auction is coming up on Saturday the 20th at 4:30 here in the courtyard. You need a ticket and let us know ahead of time. But today is the last day to submit new auction items. You see this lovely flamboyant woman over here? When
What? You?
When you, after the service, if you want ideas, that sort of thing, please put them on our website and then come to the auction. It's so much fun, actually. First of all, you get a meal and we're all sitting around chatting, but then there's these wonderful auction items and they're fun and they kind of set the social calendar for the year. We even have new people put new stuff in. It's really cool, and I've got my escape game in there, so if you want to do an escape game, come to it. It'll be fun. All right, notice we have all these other things. The other thing I want to mention, excuse me, a couple of things that didn't quite get up there. First of all, Tracy D, raise your hand over there. She's going to be starting a game night. Woo. The right kind of games, fun games, right? Good games. So if you are interested in games, if you're someone who just likes to play board games or card games, don't worry, it's not going to be gamer games. See Tracy, because she's going to try to find the time that works for everybody as much as possible, so let her know. The other thing is that not next Saturday, but on the 21st of May, as many of you know, this church has been sponsoring an Afghani family on top of the refugees that we have over here of the Ukrainians, but we have an Afghani family that we've been working with, but the way that they did it was only 5 of us could work with them at a time. So the 5 of us were coming to our year end with them. They're doing great. It's a family of 9 people. We sort of jokingly call them the cozy family because we can't say their name on anything that's recorded because they do have family back in Afghanistan. But we've been wanting for you to meet them, and on Sunday the 21st, they're going to be here. So you're going to get to meet them, and we're going to have a big potluck. And I'm hoping that you'll get to actually taste some of their food, because the mother is an amazing cook, like amazing. And she's like, anytime you go visit her, like she tries to feed you. You know, it's really wonderful. So mark that on your calendars. Sunday the 21st, after the service, we're going to be having the cozy family here. So, all right. Let's see here. I think we're going to sing our benediction, and then I'm going to go play a game.
Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy.
Service is over. Let our service continue.